All right, people, my new, I'm getting fit. So my new MO is to do stuff, to keep doing it. It's like 7 o'clock. I'm still here. I'm still going. So the Cayman, I want to get it done because next week we're taking it to Helen. I can always work on it in Helen too, which I do want to do stuff in Helen when I get there. If you're not familiar, I own a house in the mountains. That house, we let people borrow it for money, aka rent, but Mormon style of renting, meaning if you go to my house, you take better care of it than I do, and you return it to me better than you found it. And we're in that kind of relationship with people. And by the way, the house was booked like 50 of 52 weeks this year. So the concept is working. And so the plan was to always have, or the plan has always been to have a car at the house. And so remember about the pig nose, the purple pig nose, the PPN, and I hated it. Didn't even want to drive it down the road. I just hated everything about it. I wanted to like it. I thought maybe I'd fall in love with it by doing all the modifications and parts and all that stuff. I would love to have a GT3 at the house, and I probably will someday, but I'm a little nervous of this concept of letting people borrow the car for money. And so I didn't want to go all the way to 200K. I wanted to start out a little slower, and so that's where the M3 came in. But I hated the M3, and so I was trying to figure out what am I going to do. I really think I would love to have a manual car there, but if people are going to be borrowing it, everybody says they know how to drive a manual, but most people really don't. And so even the ones who say they can, and of course there's some people who can't, I just think it's better, and it's also better in the mountains. There's a lot going on when you're up there riding around and some pretty twisty roads, and so having PDK in these cars is actually better. You lose a little driving experience, but it makes it for it's a better car. It's faster. Everything about it's better. So I talked to my friend Tom Walsh at Porsche Wilmington, BMW Wilmington, who sells me all my cars. And I said, look, man, I'm hating this M3. I just want to give you a heads up. I'd like to sell it. And he said, just do it, man. Just sell it. Let's get you something you want. I said, let's get me on the list for Spider GT, or what do they call it? GTS, Boxster GTS, Cayman GTS 4.0, or GT4, and I need to be able to spec it. I don't want to be able to order it. So the first allocation that came up, GTS 4.0, and I'm actually pretty pleased with it. I've only driven it a little bit because I wanted to get all the coding and stuff done, but I'm really digging it. So this is the total opposite of the purple pig nose. I'm in love with this car. And the one thing that I'm also in love with is messing with exhausts. And so that's what I got today. Soul Performance, my friends, John Gatos at Soul Performance. We did a project on the GT4 where I got every combination, headers, over axle, race headers, regular headers, their rear section, and I played with all the different variants and versions. My favorite version on this car is over axles, stock rear section, disconnected valves. No valve controller. I don't want to do the work to get it set up because I'm never going to turn them. I'm never going to mess with the valves. Get rid of the freaking valves. I'd love to get rid of the valves in a GT3. Idiots add valves like an E92. Why would you do that? Why would you put valves on a car that doesn't have valves? Then it makes it too loud when the valves are open and too quiet when the valves are closed. It's just freaking stupid. So never put valves on a car. Get rid of valves if you can. And in this car, in the 4.0 and the 4-liter engine this is the same engine as a GT4. I'm assuming it's going to sound the same. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is this is a PDK car, not a manual car. But on my GT4 4.0, same engine, just different intakes, a little different software. It's the best sound. It's fantastic. The one thing to keep in mind with a GTS, actually maybe it's not the same in this car because it's PDK, but the taller gearing in the manual Caymans, if you're using valves, the car's valves are always freaking closed because you're almost always below 4,000 RPMs except for when you're really on it. So anyway, I'll stop talking. Let's get working. I wanted to tell you the story here. And so let's see what we got. He may have sent me the valve controller anyway. Let me see what we got here. Yes, he did. But we're not doing this. The reason they sent me the valve controller is just in case I want it. I'm at the level now in life where I'm a just in case kind of guy. So just send it to me. I'll pay for it, and let me try it. So we got valve control in case we need a valve controller. I also placed my Suncoast order for this car. Well, we'll go over that when that package gets here, but we have lots of stuff coming. Lots of things coming like that I like to get for my Porsches. Okay, so over axle pipe, looks like so. It's round, unlike the stock one, which is a flat little pancake that runs over. And then the key is this section here gets rid of the OPF, whatever the particulate filter. I forget what the O is. What's the O, Bryce? I don't know. It's called OPF. Everybody abbreviates it OPF, but I'm not sure. Oxygen particulate filter or something?
Probably some German word. I don't know.
Oxides, particulate, I don't know. People are going to be screaming at me in the comments. 2 pipes. We don't have to, all you have to do is take the wheels off. We don't have to take the bumper off, bumper cover off, or anything like that. So these little bros are what we're doing. It's going to be great. Soul performance, nice clean. I like the finish. So there should be a bag of bolts. Boom, bag of bolts. There will be no instructions read here. I can promise you that. I've done this a bunch, so I think I know what I'm doing. We'll see. We'll see. So I got my bucket of bolts here. Check out my new little Hazard Assistant we're going to use. This little bro. So I can take my bolts, put it on my little cart. This thing folds up into a little bit, At first I hated it, but I've been using this like all day, every day.
It's always out here.
Yeah.
You're always around that thing.
I'm like, maybe I'm a cart guy. I didn't know it. All right, so all these we're gonna need for doing the job here. Lots of washers, lots of copper nuts, because on the particulate filter section, so that transition from over axle pipe to rear section, I think there's 6 bolts on each side, and then I think we reuse the bolts on the header. Okay, so washers, copper nuts, zinc bolts, and that's all we need. Yeah. Okay. Let me show you this puppy here. So the over axle here. The reason why they call it over axle is it goes over the axle. So I sound like a real YouTuber, a real frickin' dum-dum, like, oh, I know something. Now, the over axle pipe goes over the frickin' axle, right? So header is here, engine is here in this car, not here or back there. So the engine is in the middle of the car, in front of the rear axle, which is what makes these cars handle so well and feel so great. And so the header is back further. And so unlike a GT3 where the header is over here behind the axle, a GT4 or a Cayman, they need a separate piece of exhaust to come and connect. And then this big old honker here is the new German, new European nonsense that I don't think really does a whole heck of a lot, but this is to help with, I guess, emissions. So there's a particulate filter here. And the luck would have it, USDM cars, we don't have an issue in that there's no monitoring of the OPF. I think you guys in Europe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you have there's a bung in here and there's a sensor that if you took the OPF off, you would need to do some coding. So we won't need to do any of that. So if I remember correctly, which I think I do, there's two bolts here and 2 bolts here, so there's 4 bolts that hold the rear section in place. So I'm going to loosen those up so that way it can kind of wiggle around to make it a little easier to get this out. But first thing I'm going to do, and I don't need to worry about, and this car has 12 miles on it, so I don't need to worry about using any kind of penetrating oil or anything like that. So I can take these puppies right off. And I think they're 12 millimeter. Let's use some fancy new Hazette tools, Bryce. Let's do that. Yeah.
So, cocaine over there?
Yeah, look at that. Well, I only have 2 Koken things, and I only have a 10 millimeter.
I really want to keep on this cocaine.
The one is terrible. Yeah, it's 40 tooth. This is like 20 G's of tools right here, dude, in the stupid little cart. Yeah. Yeah, 12 millimeter. So it has that tools. It's kind of, these are all German tools. Like this is what they use, I think, in Porsche's factory. I think they use has that. So this is a Chinese-made German tool. If it doesn't say Germany on it, it's likely made in China. And so their ratcheting wrenches, they don't make, from what I can tell. I should have worn my blood hand shirt. Let's see if we can get through this without any injuries. So the disconnecting the valves, the way these valves are vacuum actuated, and there's also no ECU monitoring of that. There's just a button that you press that opens valves and closes valves. So remember, on a Porsche, almost all modern Porsches, when you press the button, I love it when all YouTubers talk about this. When you press the button, the valves open if you're stopped. So if I'm in my garage and I press the button, the valves open. And I'm like, okay, I'm in sport exhaust mode. But most of the cars, this one included, I don't think my Carrera S did this, my 991.1. But most of them, especially all the GT cars, when you press the button, the valves open when you're stopped, but the second you drive off, the valves close. So then the valves operate just like normal. So you have the button, the sport button, it doesn't do squat. It just opens and closes the valves that idle. But when you leave the line, when you start backing out of the driveway, the valves close again. And so the problem with the gearing in at least on a manual GT4 being so tall, is that the valves don't open till you get to like 4,000 RPMs. And so that means that, yeah, I mean, your valves are closed way more than they're not. These have studs on it, and so half the time the stud comes out, and we're not worried about it because these are probably never going back on here. And if they do, I won't be putting them back on. Uncle Mikey will be doing that. I do have all those fancy tools. I should probably go grab one. All these electric tools. So on like the Porsche, like the GT3 stuff, like back in 2015 when I was chasing this because I hated the stupid valves. But as soon as you take the valves off the GT3, as soon as you disconnect them, the thing frickin' drones crazy. And so the valves are really, really necessary. And then there was this big debate, battle, like, no, they're there for back pressure. You're losing horsepower. So I got off my fat rear end and went down and dyno tested it, and they're full of crap. People are just making that up. So the valves are purely there for sound. Now, when you transition to like a 3-inch Dundon exhaust, on a GT3, like, well, I'm going to be putting my Dundon exhaust is still sitting there for my, I don't know why I'm doing this one first, considering my GT3 Touring I've had for a year now, almost, and I haven't even done anything with it. But when you transition, the way to the help of the GT3 valve transition is just to make a big, fatter exhaust. And so a 3-inch exhaust helps with, you still have the valve transition. The gearing is much shorter. This thing bounces so much. So the valve transition isn't as annoying, but it's necessary. Because when you start pulling the valves out, you start getting boomy, resonant drone. It's terrible. God dang it, I should go get a power tool. What am I doing to myself here? I did about a frickin' 165-pound push presses today. My shoulders are on fire. I would like it if all the studs came out. Koken has a really cool stud ratcheting tool that I need to get, where you can take a raw stud raw threaded stud and take it out like with a ratchet. So you could take the coking thingy, you can put the little nut, little socket on there, and it doesn't gall the teeth up, the threads. I don't know how it works. It's like freaking magic, but I need to get some of them. So that's one thing I could do. If I double nutted these and took all the studs off, then I wouldn't have to worry about loosening these bolts, but it's easier to just loosen the bolts. It's like this stud's coming out. See, look, my hands aren't even getting dirty. That's the kind of car I like to work on.
The brand new kind.
That brand spanking new. Keep forgetting I got a cart, I can move it. It's got wheels on, that's the whole point. Look at this little bro, it's freaking cool. It's kind of like nerd. It's like nerd. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's from. I think they made it in the 40s or 50s or something like that. They have it like in their catalog to show how long it's been around. You know what? Don't I got all the frickin' tools in the world here, and I'm jerking around. It's not any longer. Same length. Oh, it's a little bit longer. This is the snap-on, greased up snap-on version, brand new, just greasy. Ugh, just grosses me out even using it. By the way, we're giving away this box too. 40-something thousand bucks into this sucker. So I've been buying tools to, same thing I've done with some detailing in my life, is then figuring out, what I like and what I don't like, and then we're going to put together a sort of curated package of tools. And so I've been forcing myself to buy and then use a bunch of different stuff. Snap on one of them. It's kind of like I had to buy a Corvette just to say, just to know, am I missing something here? No, I'm not missing squat. Oh, there's another stud. Nope, not missing anything. Sorry, you Corvette bros. I understand the Corvette thing though. Like if you grew up, if you like high horsepower, that's your thing, torque, horsepower. I like linearity, and the driving experience is more important to me, and build quality. Those are the more important things, so I'm willing to give up some horsepower and torque for that. I get the Corvette, or you grew up nostalgically, your grandfather had a Corvette, your dad had a Corvette, all driven below the speed limit at all times. Got to have that 700 horsepower so you can drive 35 in the left lane. But that's what Snap-on reminds me of. It's like I needed to experience it. But like every time the Snap-on guy comes, I'm about to spend 4 G's. Like I don't get excited about it. When the Hazette tools are showing up, I'm like, man, I can't wait to see what they're like. Can't wait to try it. Can't wait to buy it. Or when the Sonic stuff shows up. I've unboxed probably 15 sets of Sonic tools now, and every time I do it, it's so much fun. Like I can't lie to my gut. I can't lie to myself. Okay, let me loosen these two puppies up. So these are E something or others. Is this a 12? Oh, that's right, you freaking idiot. There's a, I think it's a 17 up there. There's a nut on top. This is how regular people do their tools? Just sift through everything? This is terrible. Yeah, I think I'm right. I just think it was a 19. 17. This is terrible. Is this what you guys do? Jeez. See, that says Germany. But look at that. It's a little jank there, Bryce.
Yeah. Casting's a little
wonk.
iffy in the casting.
Yeah. Just because it's German don't mean it's perfect. It's not. This is not 19. There we go. Every time I do this, it just makes me get all like nostalgic, you know, like the old days of Matty in his garage fumbling around. It's so much fun.
To really complete it, you need some Rhino ramps.
Yeah. Screw that. I don't want to go back to that. It's an E14. E11? I don't think it is. Freaking E12. Good luck finding that in this pile. E12, nice. Now, this is a terrible idea. When I have this, like look at this, I got this perfection right here. Anything I could ever want, boom. No, I gotta use the Hazette. I think it's the black ones. Yeah, it's the black ones that are the 80 tooth. I do like these ratchets.
Okay, so we have Hazette, Wera, Koken, Nipros.
I haven't ordered the Koken yet.
So what do you not like about the Wera ones?
They're just not good.
Tommy's conflicted.
I like the Wera Zyklop for some just to have, but I don't like those articulating head ratchets for all the time. But their regular ratchet like this, they're not good. They're terrible. I don't even think they make them. I think they just buy them. But then you got this KTC stuff that'll frickin' change your life, like these. Look at this. Look at this beauty. It's like a magical. And then this is the, I only have 2 Kokens, just 2 samples. But the 40 tooth is terrible. This one is, it's like.
It sounds like a hand crank like winch.
This is the Z series, which is a 72 tooth. Seems like a nice experience, but I think I really like their sockets. But I really like the Hazette sockets too. I just think that these are gonna be too pretty for us, for me. Like I want a little bit of, I don't like it. I don't think I like it when it's chrome plated like that or high gloss, because like these just cleaner. In fact, the Sonic version of like this kind of polished, semi-polished, it just doesn't get all gummed up. I don't know. So I'm working on it. I got a lot of tools to buy. A lot of tools. But I keep coming, I mean, these are the German wrenches, and I have the snap-on American wrenches. These are pretty sick. This is the Nipros. Look at that mirror finish. I think it's like, it's probably like $100 for that thing. But I keep coming back to the old Sonic stuff that is Taiwan-made stuff that just, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm familiar. I don't think so though. Like I like their ratcheting wrenches more than any. I like the finish, the fit. You know, to me, it doesn't. I don't give a crap where it's made. I just want to get it in my hand and I use it. What does it feel like? Okay. So we should have enough give here. We have to put the car down and take off the bolts off the header. Whereas I had to force myself to mess with the G80 M3, I'm like having a blast messing with this thing. I'm just gonna get like 57 Porsches. That's my plan. All right, so is that a 12 again? Let me see. Got frickin' toolboxes everywhere. So I need an extension. Dang, is this what you people have to do? I also don't like, I only like ratchets that have a push button. I don't like these regular release ones. Yeah, this is the one. This is the best one. I don't like the handle, but I like the finish. I like, this is my favorite ratchet. But I got more ratchets to buy. So now, good luck finding a 12? Is it a 12? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's a 13 up top. I started with it structured and then I gave up and just started putting stuff. So we'll do a 12 point. It's because that's what I got. So the way this is gonna work, the car will be at the house. I think it's gonna be, I gotta do the math, but I think it's gonna be 1,500 bucks for the week. You get 600 miles. If you're gonna cry baby about that, then you're not getting the car. You rent the car, go hit up the Dragon, do Richard B. Russell. But you gotta be at the house first. So first you gotta get through the approval process of the house. Then we gotta check your insurance. You gotta provide your insurance stuff. Make sure that's good to go. I've got commercial insurance on the policy on the car. You need to go rip around the car, take good care of it, enjoy it. God dang it. Let's just do the real thing here. And then at the end of the week, you're gonna bring the car back. Well, you're gonna bring the car back every night to the house, but you're going to wash it and clean it, vacuum it, wash it, set it up for the next guy. I think that's freaking super cool. Any car guy that likes, taking care and maintaining, especially in that garage, is like the greatest garage I've ever built. The Helen garage is just a freaking great place to be. We have everything there. You're gonna get the car there, you're gonna wash it, you're gonna vacuum it, you're gonna clean it up. And so you're gonna pay to stay in the house, play with tools, and pay to rent the car, borrow the car, we don't say rent, and then experience what it's like to wash it. I think that's freaking cool. And I think that most of the people that are going to the house are going to think that's cool too. Oh, shoot. That's what I didn't want to happen.
I pulled this stud out.
Yeah, dang it. Yeah, these are studs. On the GT4, they're not studs. They're like a push-in.
There's like a mushroom on the end of it, or like.
Yeah. So now what am I gonna do? Maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll just take the studs out. No, because it's threaded. So the header is threaded on this. Well, there goes my freaking quick job. I'm gonna be here all night now, jerking around. I really need a deep well 13. That's what I need. Okay, so you see why I detached the back, so that way I get this play. So I have enough room to get it off the studs and then get this sucker out. The valve wire is attached to the pipe here, so you have to bend that out, get that out of the way. So now our over axle can come out. So, get rid of this little skinny bro. I'm gonna put the full size on there. And it weighs a decent amount. Ooh. Bingo.
There we go.
Okay. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, so our stud's back in. Yep. Cool. All right, so now we can put our new over axle pipe in. Which one is it? Is it this one?
Yeah.
Looks like it. So put our gasket back on here. So we do washer on each side, washer there, another washer on the other side, and then this guy, copper nut. Make sure that your gasket's in place. Now, Soul does sell a ceramic coated version. If I were on the track, if I was going to be driving this car on the track, I probably would have opted for that because all the heat is right next to your rear tires. You could also, wrap the pipes if you wanted to with some header wrap, but I'm rolling raw dog in it here, so couldn't find a better word for you. So, I don't like these. Let me see if I got some new ones, because I don't think I have enough of these to use those. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Got 13 of those, but I already got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I do have. So I guess we do use new ones. Perfect. I wanted some new nuts for up top here. If not, I was going to consult my, what are those things? What's the brand I have in there? Rogo. Yeah, my Rogo Arsenal. So I'm not going to tighten any of this stuff down yet until I do the other side. So it's nice and loose. Told you this is a pretty simple install, and this is an easy install without a lift. You don't need to have a lift like this. This could have been those of you who've been around a long time, this could have been a Mormon Brown house, 2-car garage, Rhino ramp install for sure. Yeah, this sounds.
Get out of it.
It's gonna sound freaking great. All right, so the other thing you got to do. Yank this off. So yank the, wait a second. Are the valves going to be open? I might have to leave that on. I might have to pull it off after I start it up. Wait, no, I think the valves, well, we're going to find out. Let me leave it on. I might have to open the valves and then pull it off. I don't think I've ever done that though. I got my 15mm Future Classic spacers. We'll see if those spacers fit. All right, so that's side A. I'm gonna do the same thing to side B. Maybe I like a rolling toolbox. I don't know. I need a big, if I get a really big garage someday, I would want one for sure. So there is I'd mentioned earlier, there's a valve controller. So you could, comes with a little remote key fob, you can do that. I did that in my GT4 and I frickin' never used it. I just left the valves alone, call it a day. Yeah, it's like a module that plugs in and there's a whole box. Okay, so I think the way that I did this, let me tighten these down first. Yeah, so we'll tighten all this down first and then I'll tighten if I have to do any adjustment to the exhaust in the back. I don't think there really is much room for this thing to move, so I think it's gonna be pretty solid either way, if I remember correctly. I don't think there's a lot of adjustment. Pretty solid. Now, I wanted to use this, bro. Are you kidding me? There's no 13? There it is. I was gonna say, are you kidding me with that? I don't want to go too tight with this big old long thing. I can snap this off.
There's a lot of torque on that.
Yeah. So you just want to make sure that this is, reasonably lined up. And it is. Oh, freaking idiot. Doing it. Oh, God, I'm so sore. Oh, almost had a blood head. Okay, so now, move all this junk out of the way. Everything's tight. Now I need to wipe this down real quickly with something that's coming. I can't talk about it. You just need to throw it from that distance, Bryce. That's it. A little WD-40 on a new microfiber towel thing I got going on here. I don't think I really touched anything back here. Okay, let me wash my hands. We'll fire it up and then we'll open up the valves and pull the thingies off. What are they called? You know what I'm talking about. Vacuum lines, that's what I was looking for. Gray key, gray door pull. I was thinking about doing the RS door pull swap on this. Man, this car is clean. Clean city. What's the weather like outside? Isn't it kind of nice?
It's like 80 right now.
Yeah. I think I can open the door rather than killing us. That's it. Maybe it doesn't go down with the door closed. Trying to get the spoiler to go down. He's blinking at me. Or golden. Super simple. All right, so let's put it back up. Let me plug and tuck the lines. So I'm just take this little screw, find a screw that fits, stick it in there, call it a day. And then what I'm gonna tie that line up to this brace here. Some zip ties. Is that not? Oh, it already came off, so I already pulled it off. Just take the line off completely. Nothing's getting up into that vacuum line. And this one here. Boom. That's a wrap there, bros. So tomorrow what I'll do is I'll come over to the garage and I'll do some flybys outside. I've also put a link in the description of the GT4. It'll sound the same as GT4. So now the valves are opened, disconnected, and we're good to go. So the valves will just stay open all the time. I don't have any transitions at all, which I think is the best way to make this car sound. This isn't like a GT3 sounding, the GT4, the GTS 4.0 doesn't sound as good, but it's a decent sounding car. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's good. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks to my friends at Soul for continuing to make great stuff. And we'll also put a link in the description for where you get these things. I think they're like $2,600 or something like that. And it's a simple piece of pipe, but there's a lot of engineering, I'm sure, that went into getting that to fit nice and smoothly like that. That's a really, thing that I'm a stickler for. I want good fit on a car if I can help it. So anyway, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. See you on the next one. I'm getting out of here late tonight. Later.